Max has just discovered the joys of humping his brothers. And only one of the brothers really thinks it's that endearing. Hi Jason, I'm 45 and I spend a lot of time trying to meet guys by joining various groups. An excellent thing, I tell people to do that all the time. Don't go out to bars to meet people, find a gay group, organization, team, some kind of establishment thing where you would be going and doing those things anyway, like I'm in a gay motorcycle group, because that's where you're going to meet people that you have things in common with, and that's a great place to start, building a friendship. I've never really met anyone I wanted to date. That can happen. I met a couple of friends, but over time I was put off by the amount of narcissism I encountered. If I talk with gay men and listen and say a few things here and there, but mostly my job is just to listen and not talk about myself much. I find it interesting up to a point, but it concerns me that no one ever cares about me or my life story. That's sort of that moment when you hope the person will light up and take interest in some part of your life, your interests or whatever, and become engaged with you on a conversational level, but it never really seems to happen. I keep getting the message that I don't matter. Is there some approach I haven't tried to break down this wall of indifference, or is it just the fate of all gay men to live in a culture saturated with narcissism? No, it's not. It's unfortunately the fate of all human beings to live in a culture saturated with narcissism. Have you turned on the television recently? One of the reasons why I finally yanked the cable out of the wall and stopped watching television is because reality shows are unfortunately ruling the world, and they're really just instructional manuals on narcissism and making a fool of yourself. And this is coming from a guy who does shirtless videos giving gay advice and talks about making porn. And I think that Snooki's got to can dial it back. I don't watch reality shows. I've never actually watched one aside from those cooking shows that Carl forces me to watch all the time. Have you ever seen these things? Like people are cooking reality shows. Oh god. Where was I? Oh, right. Okay, so you talk about how you've joined all the various gay groups, and that's a really good step. But what you really need to do is make sure that the gay groups that you're joining are doing things that you would be doing anyway. Because the whole point in doing this is to meet people who share your interests. So what you want to do is you want to talk about your interests. You want to talk about other things. You don't necessarily want to talk about yourself. Little bits of yourself will eventually seep through. At this point, it sounds like you're just kind of allowing other people to sort of manage the conversation. And what you really need to do is don't try to change channels so drastically that they're no longer talking about themselves, that they're talking about you. What you want to do is you want to talk about both of you. You want to bring up topics that you know that the two of you are both interested in. So if you're on a gay baseball team, start trying to talk about baseball. If you're on a gay bowling league, start talking about, I don't know, tacky shoes. I don't know. The point is that he's over there humping one of my shoes right now. Luckily, the shoe doesn't seem to mind. So that's really it. Is that step one really is joining the groups that you would be doing anyway because you want to meet people that you have things in common with. Step two, of course, is trying to connect with people who really do share your interests, because that's where the real friendship starts. And then once they actually feel that they have a bond with you, that's when they start showing a real interest in you. Don't be too passive in groups like that and just allow people to be your audience, because the whole point in doing this is to engage them and to make friends. And sometimes it's a little difficult, and honestly, making friends is one of the most difficult things in the world, which is, unfortunately, all about narcissism. And all you have to do is turn on television and see the kind of shows that people watch. To realize that, we live in a world that's really all just about, people saying, hey, come look at me. He says on his YouTube channel. I know, I have a YouTube channel and I talk about stuff and then bitch about narcissists. And get off my dress. Hey, get off your brother's butt! Keep asking me questions.